Well, all right. We got power back. And of course it went for, it's off for about 2 hours. I finally went and broke down and got my little generator out and ran the extension cords and ran the pellet stove in the house and all. And Unitel said it was going to be on about 1:30 to 3 in the morning, so I went through all that, and then a half hour later the power came on. Right? Figures. So, now we got some power. I can go weld this up. Plus you guys can kind of see a little bit better what I got. Clean up the back of those holes a little bit. And we'll clamp that eye down and we'll buzz that into place. Someone was asking on the last video about what about the inside of the gate. Does that concern you about the rust and stuff that's on the inside? Yeah, it concerns me, but more likely what I'm going to do is I am going to shoot oil down the insides. And after this thing is painted, I pretty much will, oil and wax and bar and chain oil and everything else, but it's got access holes, so we're just going to shoot them in there. You pull that plug out, you can shoot in there, and the top and all. I'll probably just run them down the gates and whatever, use motor oil and kind of pickle them from the inside. And that's probably about the best you can do, because from the factory there was never paint inside there anyway. It was pretty much just raw steel. So hopefully it would live a better life now too, as far as not living outside its future existence, and will not have the same issues that it's had in the past. So anyway, I am going to go get set up, and we'll get the welder on here. We'll get tacky and start buzzing that one in, and then we'll go make another one. This one may be a little bit easier because it doesn't have the stanchion going up in the middle of it, so I don't have to worry about trying to whittle around. More of a straight shot. But, that may bite me in the ass too, saying that. One thing I wanted to show, what I want to do before I start on this, because this is thinner metal. It's again, it's either 18 or 20 gauge, and what I'm running now is 030 wire. I usually run a 10-pound spool, and you see here's the 030 chart, and here's 0.025 diameter. And what that does is allows you to run a lower voltage and still get a puddle, a decent puddle, where the wire is feeding in. You're trying to, the wire itself is trying to melt also, plus the base metal. And when you run the thicker wire, you have a tendency to want to blow out more. So on rusty, thin kind of metal, you can actually see that, they're telling you for 24 gauge, forget it, don't even bother trying it, but these are the settings you're supposed to be. So you just get on the thinner stuff, you just get a bit more workability out of it. The only thing that kind of nails you is that on the other end of the scale, if you try doing thick stuff, then it's just too thin to work with, so you kind of lose it on that side. So we're going to go change over. I got half a spool of 025, and I figure for doing this stuff, that's what we're going to be probably the best bet. So let me go get that taken care of, and now we'll get the welding. Yeah, let's get some tack on it. Probably just going to grab this edge and this edge, and then I can take the clamps off and go a little bit of pressure on that side. Should probably add that the nozzle, the tip that's inside there, gets changed too. There's different diameter centers. This one's like an 030, 035, and then the idea of it changes for different sizes of wire. That, and there's a feed roller that pushes the wire along. A little spool, you can flip that over, it's for different size wires too. So those also had to be done. The whole process takes like 5 minutes. What I do is I feed the wire out, I cut it off, I take the tensioner off, and I actually pull the wire back out so you're not wasting everything that's in the gun. The 8-10 feet, whatever that is. So you're not really losing anything. Alright. We are on B3 for feed, and let's see how that goes. Might fudge it from there. Make sure my helmet's on, which it's not. Got a little button on the inside for the LED, for the screen. Now you see the LCD pops up. much better. This makes for a lot smaller little parts, you know? I like the clamps that have the feet on them. It keeps you from making dents. And sometimes you weld to it. Well, I am going to go and reclamp that. But I get tacks all the way around. Actually, I could probably... That looks good up there. Let's go grab a couple there. A little dirty in there. You hear it? You hear how it kind of fluttered a little bit? Yeah, I'll catch one in the middle too to keep that from sucking up. The other thing is too, you kind of want to, after you're done with the tack, don't go move right away to the next one. Hang out there a second because the shielding gas is still kind of protecting it as it's cooling off. It keeps it from developing that little hole in the center of it. Alright, well, I'm going to go buzz that thing all up and make it one solid piece, and I'll turn you back on. That's all welded up and ground, but you can see the effects of the heat. Here's the gap that's underneath it again. So it'd been nice if I had some way to kind of clamp it when I was doing it, but I should be able to bend it back again. Again, it's fairly thin stuff, but we should be able to muscle it back into place. It's quite a bit. And that's the end result. You could tell where I had clean metal to weld to and I had crappy metal to weld to. There's crappy metal there. You can see where the porosity kind of kicks in. But again, at some point you have to stop. End up replacing all of it. And yeah, up in here is a little janky. But you should be able to body work over the top of that. It's level, it's smooth. Then again, some areas are clean, some areas are crappy. You see where it gets like popping and porous on you, and then it gets back to being solid again. You can tell where the metal was crappy in that area. But you can't grind a clean metal if there's not going to be any clean metal left behind. I wish I really could kind of come down into this lip. I didn't want to start distorting the front skin on it too much. And again, we're not going to Pebble Beach, as Mike would say. We're just trying to make it solid again. And it's definitely a lot better than what was there, right? And then, you know, once you body work that, you won't be able to tell where I plug welded into the bracket again. So I am going to start cutting into the top section. Well, first we'll grind out the Bondo that's in there, and do the same as I did on the other side, and we'll start all over again and make a patch for that one. Yeah, I figure we'll fast forward it a little bit. Here's this one knocked out, but before I grind it, and it ain't the prettiest, but welding's kind of like how well you write. If you write real neat and print real neat, you can run a nice straight bead. If you write sloppy, and you weld sloppy. But what I'm going to do is I'll go over and knock that down, and if there's any pinholes left, I'll just come back and tweak it again. And what I'm using is that. They're like little quick lock jobbers, 36 grit, and it kind of knocks the welds down pretty fast. I like these, and flapper disc. Flapper disc is on the right there, and of course they come in all different grits, and you get them when they're new, that like that. It's basically sandpaper that keeps self-sharpening itself until you get down to where the glue is, and then you're pretty much done. But these are good for roughing, and then you can kind of fine-tune it with a finer wheel, and the same holds true with these. I like to get these at the swap meet. They're here you go, it's 15 bucks, so they're 50 cents a piece roughly, a little less, 40 cents a piece. There's 20 of them for 15 bucks, 75 cents a piece. I don't know. Anyway, they do a pretty good job, and they last a decent amount of time. Getting a little low on those. May look on eBay, see if I can find myself a better deal. So I'm going to go get this knocked down and leveled off, and then we're going to go and see how crooked it is and see what we can do to straighten it out, and then we'll hang this one back on the truck and we'll jump onto another one. So a little intermission. Brian came over with some goodies that he found an old car they were cleaning out, and I would probably say, venture to say, that it looks like the very first Dremel there ever existed. I don't know, you guys read that? Jack of all trades it is. Crafty. Got like a cloth base on it. And we haven't plugged it in yet, so we figure we're gonna go see if it explodes together. It looks like a ray gun from like. All right, let's see what we get. Safety third. Nice metal housing with no ground. All right, what do you think the on is? You think that's the on? Look at that. Ain't that thing cool? Kind of a weird place for the trigger though, huh? Quiet. It might even turn into a bike part, I'm thinking. Too bad it works. Alright. That. And then we got a reflector kit here from who knows. Again, it came, how old was the car that came out of? Do you know?
50s, late 50s.
Yeah. Not to say it couldn't be bought after that. And it's a roadside reflector kit. It'll pop open. And then it would have little stands there and flags that you kind of put out when you're broken down. Back when everybody broke down like crazy. 50s and 60s. Every time you seemed like you went for a drive, there was always a car dead on the side of the road with the hood up. So those are really cool. So I got presents. I guess. Just wanted to show you that. Alright, after a little break, fresh cup of coffee, full bag of pellets. A pellet stove, and we're snacking on some trail mix. This side is all done, and used some boards on the floor to jump up and down on, and kind of just go square that guy back up where it got curved again. And we're looking pretty good. It closes just fine. It's straight on the bottom and the top. I know stuff's in the way, but that should all be good. And as far as the gap on the bottom too, the bottom hinge mounts, the plates behind them have play in them, so you could actually kind of fudge them around them. Move them up and down and kind of change that gap around. But if you're looking at them, you actually can't see anything. Doesn't look any different. So we're fine as far as that's concerned. So now I decided to go and jump on the other side. And of course the first side is the one that always takes all the time because you have to learn what to go and do. And now we already got a pattern down, so we might be okay. So we're going to do the same over here, and it's got the same issues. It's got Bondo filling in where the rot was, and you know, again here probably shouldn't say this, but this side does not look quite as bad as the other side, but you know, until we hit it with a wire wheel and we see what we actually got, you know, little pinholes come through it, we'll know from there. So the other one, I straightened the thing and then welded it and made it crooked and then had to go straighten it again. This one's probably got about the same amount of bow in the center of it. I think I'm going to leave it alone. We'll do all the welding and then we'll fine tune it after we're done, because it just did the same thing all over again. So, and the more you tweak it, the kind of the weaker it gets, you know. Keep bending metal, bending it and bending it, eventually you're going to fatigue it and break it. So I think my shop is already set up on that side, so what I'm going to do is I'll just unbolt it, flip down those gates, and set back up on that mat where all the welder and everything is, and we'll just do the same assembly all over again. Again, that's after I have my coffee, though. And those two guys are done. That probably took a third the time, if that. You got one there, one there. They're both 6 inches in length. Of course, I started moving so fast I forgot to drill the holes in the center before I welded it, so I just had to guesstimate where the bracket was underneath it and punch 4 in there and kind of recess it a little further than the other ones. But there is plenty of room. You know, if you skate over that with a little bit of filler, it should just pretty much disappear, and it's all solid, so it's not going to bubble back through. There's no opening areas. One other area on this gate, though, is this bottom corner is blown out, so I figure probably what I'm going to go do is probably cut it back to like there and there. The only problem with this corner is when you go to weld it, you're not going to be able to get in there to grind the weld back off, so it may stick a little proud. So it may be a little visually impaired after it's done. But what I'm thinking of doing is cutting back to some good metal, and then I'm just going to take a piece of metal, probably weld it to a nail, and then stick it underneath and pull up, and then have that recessed so I can weld it so at least it's sitting down further than it normally is. So let's go see how that makes out. And I got you zoomed in on that corner, and I'm going to try to give you welder's flash the best I can. That's what I got. Probably turn you over so I can see you. I just got done with a coffin fit. That's what I got. Alright. So what I got is just an old screwdriver that the tip was busted on. And this piece is, I'm going to say it's 1 inch by 2 inches. And the hole that's left behind is 3/4 by 1 3/4. So this is larger than it. My idea is I want to try to get it down from underneath and weld it from the top so that it'll be kind of sort of flush where it shows. Excuse me. Let's see if I can position myself. It looks pretty good. That one was blind, and it's no good. There you go, lost the front tack. Yeah. One more behind it. Should not ripping the whole thing off. I'll just kind of break that loose. And put a hole in it. Fill it. But we're gonna go. I don't know. You guys want to watch? You want to get blind? I don't know what the camera's doing, but I'll keep going. I saw it blowing through there. That bottom's really thin. It was blowing through real easy. I had to go back and fill it. Right where I don't want to put a bunch of weld, you know. So we with a hole in the middle. You guys like screwed yet? Out there I'm not that concerned about because I can grind it down. Time to go hit it with some air and let it cool down and give it a grind. If I want to, I'm going to come back and weld over it again, but I want to see what I got. Fun welding rusty metal. Alright, I think I've come to the stop and stare at it part of the show. So I figured I'd turn the camera on. I forgot where I left off. I was doing the patch in the corner. That's what I was doing. Which is down here. So that got ground out. And it's lower than everything around it. You know, it doesn't, it looks, doesn't look that great, but that's alright. It's all metal all the way around it. And so it's body workable. What else? Now, that's the issue. The banana. So I think for the bottom, I'm going to set it up on some 2x4s on the floor. And me and my 210 is going to do its best to curve it in the other direction in even intervals. And if I overshoot it, go back the other way. But that's my battle plan for now. And I think it's the end of this one because I'm running out of gas. Looks good. Looks a lot better than Bondo over the hole. It's 100% improvement. It's a solid gate again, let's just put it that way. These are quite pricey. These are, believe it or not, this is a pretty good set compared to a lot of stuff that's out there. Because everybody needs them. So I get the laying straight, and then now I'm starting to think what I want to do for like paint and what I want the look of it to do. I like the look, believe it or not, the beat upness, the rustiness of the scratches and the paint scraped off, and you know it's all its boo-boos. And I figure, what if I was just to kind of knock it down, knock all the really loose stuff off, and see what I have before I commit to painting it. And you know, give it, it's kind of a tramp stamp of rat rottiness if I leave it alone. And here's my figuring: if I leave it and I like it, I got it. But if I want to paint it, it's gone. So what's the difference if I paint it now or I paint it last? You know what I mean? Other than making myself feel good that I got something done. So I may do that and wet sand the primer and just see what we got underneath it. I have a feeling it's not what the front is, but I mean, if it's white paint or something under it, it would be cool. That's just gonna be Bondo down there. Who knows? The roof has got a nice burn to it, you know. So if you wet sand that, that'll look good too. The doors have it. Who knows? The front skin's all Bondo. So wait for you to paint the nose and the front doors and. Just stuff to think about. Would have thunk that there come a time when you're looking at the rust as your instead of being your worst enemy, you know. But the car kind of tells you what it wants to be. If you look at what's left of it, see what you can make out of it, you know. Who knows? Again, I could paint the parts that need to be painted. I also started thinking two tones, and I'm jumping around. I was thinking like a dark gray blue and the same white that's on the inside of it, like almost like a charcoal. But that'll change 5 times in between. And what's, I mean, it's not exactly crusty gates, but the mat's stuck in there. It's gonna come crashing down. Plus, it's easier sanding all that crap and cleaning all it off. Let's call it what it is, right? Alright guys, well, I am shutting down again, and thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. I'm gonna maybe go jump on a gate, and then I'm gonna go get me a clucker.